Yeah.
Are you guys going to release this on DVD?
Never. I don't know. Yes, definitely. We don't know when, but yeah, we'll let you know. It'll be up on our website, and we want to have a DVD launch, I guess, this summer with some bands. Yeah.
If you can find a venue.
Yeah. Good point. If there's still somewhere to have it, yeah. If not, it'll be we're going down to City Hall or a parking garage.
City Hall.
Maybe the parking garage at
Parking
City Hall.
So do you really think that if Wendy had gotten the curtain and had gotten everything and knocked the wall down and had us all drinking and smoking in the corridor that she would have been able to keep it? Slumlord aside.
I was talking to staff about the curtain. I thought it was a great idea. It was a creative way of addressing a common problem. But the landlord evicted her.
Yeah.
And you know what? I got to tell you,
That's why I said the slumlord.
enforcing noise bylaws does not lead directly. We don't tell landlords to evict people. There are shutting downs. There's removal of licenses, evictions of landlord. So Wendy, in part, is right. It's lip service in terms of keeping you from getting evicted.
You can help.
But we can change the bylaws to allow you to have a space where it's legal to do what you do. And we can be more creative, and Wendy had great creative ideas that we were more than happy to work with her on before we had a chance.
But the landlord had
Sahoda's
made
pulled the
a
plug.
backdoor deal with some yuppies and evicted me.
Well, no, but what is the thing?
They're
Like, he
paying
has
more
all
money.
the venues, so
They
he's got
were
these empty
fixing the
places.
place.
What about going after him? Because he's sucking all this life out of
He
these
owns
pieces
the
of
land.
land.
He
It's
owns
his
the land.
business.
It's his business.
It was legal.
Well, how can a building be in such disrepair
Yeah.
and actually
Yeah, no, it's a
be
good
a
question.
business?
That
Because
particular,
100 people would lose their homes.
well,
if we
that
had to go after
particular,
that hard.
yeah, well, and it's a really complicated question, but we've been cracking down on slum landlords to a huge degree in the last couple of years. It hasn't been done in the past. We've actually gone after 5 or 6 of them now and said, you will be shut down if you don't come into compliance. There's a bylaw called the Standards and Maintenance Bylaw that had never been enforced before. We started enforcing it, and when we started enforcing it, they started cleaning places up. The Sahodas are particularly large landholders in the city. They've been the victims of some of this enforcement. The Cobalt was on the list. It's on the list. And that does, by the way, lead to higher rents. I mean, that's the crux of the issue is land is grossly expensive in this city. It's one of the most expensive places in the world right now to have a piece of land. And so for us, our job is to make sure our laws make sure places are safe, make sure places protect the basic health and safety, and then get out of the way and let things happen. So that's what we're in the process of doing. And in September of this year is the next stage of the report. I've got the 37-page report here if anybody wants to read it. Is that the next stage is to change those bylaws and just go down to the basic health and safety. Say to people, you got noise next to you. You have to sign something when you buy your condo saying that you acknowledge the disclosure that there is noise next door, but also make it easier to open venues in places like industrial zones where there aren't going to be neighbors living next door.
Yeah.
That's I think that's the
way to
future.
go, yeah.
Co-ops for visual arts, they're moving more to the cooperative models. The theater arts are moving more to the cooperative models. But our job is to create the basic health and safety, the zoning bylaws that make sense, and then get the heck out of the way and let the cool stuff happen. But we can't stop landlords from having control of their land.
But how do you get a liquor license?
Yeah.
That's one of the other big issues, and we're actually in the process of opening up the liquor licenses. It's a huge piece of this puzzle. We acknowledge
Nobody
that.
wants to go down to the Granville Mall.
Me included. Morrissey and Granville Mall. I might go to the Morrissey afterwards, but I totally get that. So that is actually a huge piece of it. We're in the middle of that work. It's not fast. I acknowledge that. I have. I've been on the road.
You guys got any more questions for Melissa and Kate?
Yeah, I just want to thank you for bringing this story out, and I know that me personally, being a musician and somebody who puts on shows in the city, I know how tough it is, and I know most of the people that were portrayed in the movie was trying to help out the scene, put a lot of fucking work into it, and you guys put a lot of work into this too. And one thing I'd like to say, it's really nice that you came, that somebody from the city actually came. But you know, the liquor laws, and I know you're trying to open them up, but if you're going to attack some of these people who have the leases, and you're going to make them, you know, accountable for what they're doing, why don't you take their liquor licenses from them and transfer them to people like David and Malice and Wendy who are actually doing the service and playing by the rules and trying to present something to the young people and other people in the city so that we can have, like, be a world-class city, because we're not a fucking world-class city right now.
We do take them away, they go on the market. They're too expensive right now, so we're trying.
They're too expensive.
They're too expensive.
Why can't we say, as an arts cooperative, or all of us working together, why can't we make that some sort of subsidized sort of situation where it goes to something where they're actually promoting art and music?
Look at what the Cobalt turned into. Now what it is, it's like, it looks like the lamplighter inside there. All they did is put styrofoam on the ceiling. Now it's acceptable?
Thank the landlord.
Dude, I manage a co-op grocery store. It doesn't have to be
Just
acceptable.
So I'm more than happy to do everything the city can, but you've got to recognize what's the city and what's the landlord, and you've got to do that. But in terms of the licensing, you're absolutely right. The prices are way too high, and part of that's because they're so restrictive. Right now, we have a provincial liquor law that we're dealing with as well, so a huge part of the work we're doing right now is trying to work with governments to get them to loosen up loosen their corsets as well.
But Heather, I have a
We need
question.
Gordon caught for drunk driving again.
People always ask us, like, what can we do? And I mean, I remember one time you told us when we interviewed you that you don't hear from our generation or our community enough. And I just was wondering if you could explain to people that if we want things to change and if we want things done, we have to do something about it. And if all the city council hear about is noise complaints from other people and not from us, who are they going to address? Like, they have to address the complainers.
That's right.
And we have to do something.
You have to have
too.
your voice heard. We know you're out there. We want to hear from you. There's nothing more boring than sitting through 16 hours of debate at City Hall. I can guarantee you I know that
It's
for a
not so
fact.
bad.
Dave
We
Dupre
had our
does
little
it.
seats at the top, you
That's
know,
right.
we'd wave down.
Dave Dupre does it with amazing frequency, and he has great fortitude for it. But that needs to be a strong voice. We're hearing you, but right now it sounds like there's one or two of you guys and a whole lot of those other cranky people. So it's useful to, you know, if you don't want to sit through it, send an email, send a letter saying we love these places, we want more of them. That's effective. I actually think you've got a council on site who wants to make these changes now anyway, but it can't hurt to hear from you.
And we're also on our website going to put up some resources, like a letter that's written like these places are important to me, these laws, this regulatory review is important to me, and that way you can fill it in and then we can do the boring part and send it, because we think it's important that we all have a voice here too, and we're Vancouver too, you know, so.
Maybe we can start complaining about some neighborhoods are just too quiet.
I love it. I used to advocate for loud hours, it didn't get anywhere.
Well, yeah, what David says is he lives next to a cemetery and he never makes noise complaints.
His neighbors do though.
Yeah. Oh.
Kidding. Any more questions, or will you all come out to the Morrissey? We're gonna go have some drinks and
Jesse from
yeah.
Blue Crystals is going to be DJing.
All local music. The Morrissey's not far, so come on out.
Good.